thank you again for being here for tonight's event. We really appreciate you for being here on a cold Wednesday evening. And I will kick it over to Brother Andrew Muhammad, to get us started and to bring in the occasion. So thank you very much, and looking forward to tonight's conversation.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Adam. I appreciate that. I want to first thank God for this opportunity. I want to thank Baltimore City Youth Fund, the leadership, President Miss Alicia Lee. I want to thank Davon and his team, their team. We've been working on this process several months. Myself and Dr. Phil put everything together in regards to the administration piece, and the administrative piece. And we spent a lot of time. We spent a lot of time on this, but this is something that, you know, we don't take lightly. This is something that we live every single day, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. So I just want everybody to know that we put a lot of time, a lot of energy, a lot of thought into this process. The individuals that we pick and has been on here, the first couple sessions, you know, everybody is committed to the craft, to the work. And we pick men, leaders, men and women, who has proven themselves over decades that want to see change in Baltimore, that want to see change in our schools, that want to see change in the streets, that want to see change in the prisons and the juvenile justice system, that want to see change in City Hall. You know, so we are honored to be here. Baltimore Brothers is very thankful for this opportunity. And I want to just echo what Adam said, you know, as it relates to, we don't have to go outside the city to get this job done. Just give the grassroots organizations the resources, and this job will be done along with God and unity. We have people calling us all around the country. So there is no need to go outside of Baltimore City at all. So we want to start right here at home. I just want to give you a little backdrop, as I always do, about myself and Baltimore Brothers. We started in 2015, directly after the riots or the uprising. That's how Baltimore Brothers came into fruition. We didn't get into it for no money. We didn't get into it for fame. We got into it for one reason, and that was to stop some of this violence, stop some of these killings, and be mentors and leaders for our young men. That was our number one goal. So I'm thankful for Brother John and Brother Bilal, who was my partners in the very beginning when we kicked Baltimore Brothers off. So we truly believe in saving lives, you know, one life at a time. So my last, from 2009 to 2018, I was in juvenile justice working in the back with Bloods, BGF, Crips, GDs, you know, every single day. And of course, it was off the chain in juvenile justice, where you have 120 young men down there from the ages of 12 to 18, 19, sometimes 20, 21. And these guys, you know, some of them have murders, attempt murders, carjackings, robbery, drug charges, and the list goes on. And a lot of them young men, unfortunately, was very dangerous. And a lot of them was affiliated with gangs. So we knew what we was dealing with, but it was a task that we welcomed. I myself was facing 60 years in prison. Wound up copping out to 10 years, no parole. And, you know, I dealt with gangs and neighborhood cliques, you know, inside the prison during my sentence. And then when I came home in 2000, you know, I spent a lot of time, we spent a lot of time going into every prison in the state of Maryland, every juvenile justice, every juvenile facility in the state of Maryland. And that's something that we love to do. Our goal was to give back and show young men there's another way. You don't have to kill your brother. You don't have to kill your sister. You don't have to kill your mother or somebody else's mother. So that has been our focus, and we've been very aggressive. And of course, you know, a lot of that information, you can't put that on social media. You can't talk about it, but the streets know. And that's why I believe we was chosen, because of our commitment to our city and our people and making change. So that's just a little bit, but I want to get right into it because we have a power pack team. We have a awesome amount of questions, and this team right here that's on here, we met on 3 occasions, you know, 2 hours, an hour, hour and a half. We met last night. These leaders I work with in the community every single day. They may call me for a beef. I may call them for a beef. They may call me for a gang beef. They may call me for a prison beef, domestic beef, whatever it is. Every single day, every single week, our phones are going off because somebody was shot, somebody was murdered. It's a hit on somebody's head, you know, and the list goes on. So, you know, I just want to start with going down the list, but each individual that I introduce, they're going to take a few minutes to introduce themselves and who they are. And then we're going to get right into the questions. So we asking y'all to be patient with us, but we want y'all to pay close attention. And the goal is for us to, once this is over, for you to be able to use these tools that we're going to offer, the training that we're going to offer, the information, the knowledge that we're going to offer, our experiences that we're going to offer, so you can know how to engage these young brothers on these drug corners, in these schools, in the prisons, wherever they are. You'll have knowledge on how to approach them, but also how to change their thinking. And also, you know, the ultimate goal is for us to make Baltimore a decent and safe place to live. So I want to start with Brother Antonio, who I met, I want to say about 10 years ago. And when I met Brother Antonio, he had dreads coming down to his butt. And he was a Piru, which was a blood leader. Very, very dangerous young man. Really didn't have the right guidance at that time, but I knew he wanted change. And I'm saying this because I'm personally responsible for his development. I'm not the only one, but I played a major role in helping him change his life. And I'm proud to say that, because Antonio was one, he just kept guns on him, you know, and you know what people do with guns. And we're not going to get into that, but he's a direct solution to what we're dealing with right now. So, Brother Antonio, if you go right ahead, Brother Antonio, introduce yourself.
Sir. Yes, sir, Brother Cat. Thank you, Brother Cat. In the name of the one true and living God, regardless of creed, class, or color. First and foremost, I'd like to thank God for allowing me the opportunity to be on this live Zoom webinar with such an august body of men, powerful men who are official and putting in work in the community, men who have a love for their people, but men that just don't have a love for their people. They spend their life for the resurrection and the upliftment of the brothers and sisters and babies inside of our community. So thank you for allowing me to be on this meeting. But again, my name is Brother Antonio X. I'm a student of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. I'm also founder of Hood to Hood Motivation. I spent most of my juvenile life inside of the Juvenile Justice Center. So I've been to Hickey, I've been to Noise, I've been to Savage Mountain, I've been to Baby Bookings, and the same unit that I slept on at Baby Bookings, I came back with Brother Captain Andrew Muhammad and did work on that same unit. So for the past 9 years, I have dedicated my life every single day to help uplift our people, to help go back and talk to the brothers that's in street organizations or gangs. For the past 9 years, I have come up with strategies and received training from student captain and other brothers that's on this meeting, Dr. Bundley, and his great brothers, so that I can go back into the community and give back. So again, it's an honor. Brother Captain mentioned that I was a Paru, what most of y'all probably look at as Bloods, you know, a street organization. But now, as you look at my name, Brother Antonio X, I'm an ex-drug dealer. I'm an ex-drug user. I'm an ex-gangbanger. But now the only thing I want to do is give back to our people and show love and uplift our people and help our people return to a better condition. Thank you, Brother Cat.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you. Thank you for that introduction, sir. And I want everybody to know it's a lot of other men that we could have brung on here and women, but we just selected the guys. We couldn't select everybody. So we don't want to, this is not everybody in the city. It's a lot of great men that's doing great things in our city. So I just wanted everybody to know, we understand that together we can fix this, we can fix our city. So I want to bring on the next brother, Raekwon, who one of the soldiers who I met maybe I want to say 3 years ago. But I knew when I met him that he wanted change. Let me just say he wanted change. And I usually look at a man's action, not what they say, because everybody can talk good or everybody can speak. But Raekwon is one, and we'll get into that, but he has his foot and his hands on the hip hop game, the rap game. And that's one of the reasons why he on here. But he spent a lot of time in Emerson Village. Over the last years, the village has been a very dangerous community. That neighborhood, Baltimore, West Baltimore, all up and down there. And every time something goes down in that area, I call Raekwon and he helps me out. He helps us out with a lot of the shootings, a lot of the beefs, a lot of them young guys around there just turn that area up. So go right ahead, brother Raekwon. Thank you.
Yes, brother Cap. Thank you. Peace and blessings. My name is Brother Raekwon, and I just want to say, being part of the We Out Us Baltimore Brothers program is so impactful because growing up Southwest Baltimore around Woodington Gardens Apartments, Yale Heights, Emerson Village, it was so treacherous and dangerous. Like outside of the Bloods and the Crips that I was cool with growing up. By the time I got to graduate from high school, most of my homeboys, they was dead or they was in jail. So as we speak, I'm only 27. I know over 50 people that was murdered. So by the time I was 25, with them such high numbers, friends wasn't a thing for me, you know. So I'm really honored being on this line with great men, because at the end of the day, I know what it takes to go in them trenches. I know what it takes to go in and see somebody land there on a corner, not be shocked and surprised. And it's not nothing to brag about, but it became the norm. And what made me join to great groups, such as the We Are Us movement and the Baltimore Brothers movement, was I never seen a body of men moving in a positive light. That was my first time. I never seen it. Never seen a strong, powerful Black man like Brother Captain showed me outside of the hood. So once I learned and got trained by him, I then replicated and went back out in the same trenches. And that's what I do. I stay in the trenches and give what I was taught. Thank you.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you, sir. And I want everybody to know that the work that these men are doing on this line, you know, and I say this with humility, that we really don't give these men enough credit. I know God rewards these men, but I really believe that more emphasis needs to be placed on the men and the women that's in the gutter, that's in the trenches, that these grassroots organizations that's dealing with these young men that have guns on them, that have guns stashed somewhere in a store or in a tire or in an old refrigerator. It's a level of respect that I believe our city is missing. And I really believe we have to pay close attention to what's taking place in our city, because the only people going to fix the problem, I ain't going to say the only people, but you got to help the people and back the people that's lived this life. So I want to get right into the next speaker. Eric Brown is known as EB. I just recently met EB, I want to say about 3 years ago. I heard his name all around the prison system, all in the streets. And he's one of the founding members. There's several other brothers of the Black Guerrilla family, which is called the BGF. And most of us know that's from Baltimore. BGF has a history, at least from a media standpoint and even the streets, of being a dangerous organization. But we believe that that can be turned around with the right leadership, the right individual. And EB has been giving back, since he's been home. He spent 27 years in prison. And ever since I met him, and Dr. Bundley actually introduced me to him because I didn't know him. And when I met him, we went right to work, man. And we have put out a whole lot of beefs. We have saved a whole lot of lives. So I'm very thankful for this brother. EB, and go ahead and introduce yourself, sir.
Eric E.B. Brown, the Peace Team, founder of the Peace Team. Thank you all for the invite here, and all those who have attended. Thank you for your attendance. I'm just blessed to be part of some amazing groups of people that's, helping to do this work. I'm so thankful that we had a movement such as We Are Us that allowed me to walk right out of a prison cell and right into the streets of Baltimore, to be amongst a movement and a powerful vehicle for change in this city. And in doing that, I was learning how to engage the people in the streets of Baltimore, because the engagement of the men in prison was a lot different than the way you have to engage men in the streets of Baltimore. And so I had to be taught that. And, Dr. Bundley, Bishop Daniels, and Captain Andrew, and so many other good brothers taught me how to engage. And with that, I continued it on and continued on with the Peace Team. And we took our mission over to the neighborhood in which I come from, York Road up in Northeast Baltimore. And we planted our flag up there, and in doing so, we had a 75% decrease in homicides and an 80% decrease in shootings. And I couldn't have done that without the guidance and the leadership and the tutelage of We Are Us. So I'm very thankful for you guys, and very thankful to be here tonight.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you, EB. Appreciate that, bro. And I want everybody to know, because of COVID, we can't actually do the physical training, but we are hoping at some point, God willing, we are able to spend time with everybody in person. Because when you say training is really not a whole lot of talking. It's really not. It's hands-on, and then a little bit of showing you some examples of what that looked like, what it looked like to engage 20 young men on a corner that may have guns on them, right? And that's just a piece of it. So we are hoping that we can get everybody at some point out in the community so you can see what that looked like. So the next gentleman is going to be Greg Marshburn, who I met Greg back in the 80s. My man, Greg was one of them guys that when you see him coming up the street, you go the other way, because I knew he had 2 or 3 guns on him. And I made sure that he didn't know that I was concerned about him. But you know what, though? I'm so proud of this brother right here, because He's with Safe Streets right now. And he has one of the best stories I've ever heard in my life. When you're talking about making a change, he has one of the best. And I'm excited. Every time me and him get together, I'm excited. And he's one of the men that I know that's striving to save life in our city and make an impact on our youth. Brother Greg, go right ahead, sir.
Thank you, Brother Captain. Thanks for the invite and deeming me as worthy as somebody to be a part of this work. Thank everybody in attendance. As Brother Andrew said, my name is Greg Marshburn. I'm the site director of 8th Street, Sandtown, was resistant to health for 8 years. But prior to that, for 30 plus years, I've wreaked havoc in Baltimore City. I was a heroin cocaine addict for 29 years. I was what you call a stick-up boy. I watched dudes make it so I could take it. I spent 27 and a half years in prison total. I've been on 4 separate occasions as a total. I've been shot 14 times. I had colostomy bag for 6 years, broke 2 of my wrists, collapsed my lung, took 75%, 25% of one of my lungs out. I've been stabbed 20 times in prison, and I'm directly and indirectly responsible for what's happening in the street today. That's why me still having my life today is a reward, and it's my passion and my purpose to do this work. And that's what drives me in this. And I've been gratefully recovering and gainfully employed doing the same work for the past 8 years.
Excellent. Thank you, Greg. Hey, Greg, when you speak back next time, try to stay still or something. Yeah, I can hear you. When you speak next time, try to stay still because it was a little static, okay? You actually froze up now. So okay. Thank you, bro, Greg.
What was the last thing you heard me say?
I heard everything, but you was going in and out.
Okay.
Yeah, I think somebody said turn off your Wi-Fi. Turn off your Wi-Fi. So just double check that, Greg. I just want to make sure they have to hear what you're saying. That's very important.
Okay.
Okay, good stuff. So the next gentleman, Brother Brandon. Brandon been, I want to say about 4 years, or at least going on 4 years. I know he spent 17 years in prison. And so Brandon actually went to prison as a young man, as a baby. So he has a lot of experience inside the prison system, which is very important for this program. He's seen a lot of young men come in and go, and now he's doing it. He's doing the actual work, dealing with the youth on everyday basis. So go ahead, go right ahead and introduce yourself, Brother Brandon.
Peace and blessings, family. My name is Brother Brandon, and I just wanted to first, before I begin, thank everyone for allowing me this opportunity to be on this Zoom or webinar. I grew up in West Baltimore, in the Baltimore Hilton neighborhood, and I grew up with no father, single parent. My mother raised me. Went to Catholic school from elementary school all the way to my first year of high school. At that point in time, I told my mother that I no longer wanted to go to Catholic school no more, that I wanted to go to my zone school, which was Southwestern High School. And so at that point in time, that's when my life began to change. And at the age of 19, I was sentenced to 50, also spending about 30 years in prison. So like Cap said, I spent 16 years in prison. And it was while I was in prison that I decided that I was going to change my life, because first I was introduced to the Nation of Islam. So the Nation of Islam was the vehicle that began my transformation process. And from that point, I began development programs inside the prison system. And I came home right into We Are Us. And since I've been home for the last 4 years, I've been with We Are Us, working in the community just to bring about a change. I personally is in charge of the Stop the Beef Hotline, where you can call this hotline to put out a beef in the city. And with some of the men that's on this phone, we had put out multiple beefs. We're not involving police with this number right here. So this is something that we are doing, just saying that enough is enough, and we are willing to step in between beefs that's going on in our city to try to save one life. Yes,
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you, sir. And we got a couple scholars. I really want to thank Dr. Phil Leaf. Me and Doc spent months on planning this, putting this together, and organizing it, structuring it. And I want to make sure I give Dr. Leaf the proper credit that he deserved. And he's been a partner with me in this right here. Hey, Doc, just share a few words, Doc, with the audience, please. Thank you, Doc. Dr. Leaf, you're on mute.
Yeah. So I think as you have already heard, there are many individuals in Baltimore who used to be part of the problem that are now working so that more young men don't follow them negatively, but are following them on their positive route here. And I think the issue is as Dr. Bundley always talks about, how do we create the relationships and supports for those people that can have those relationships, develop those kind of things, but nobody can do everything, but everybody needs to do something. There are things that employers can be doing. Sometimes these are their children or the grandchildren of their employees. Sometimes the faith groups can be doing some things. As a resident of Baltimore, I work here. I've had young people who've been shot, who've been in our programs. I've had people who have shot, young people have shot other people, even though they were in our programs. And so I think what you want to hear today is, how can we break this cycle? How can we be supporting those people that have the credibility and the past records and the proven abilities to change some of these things, and make sure that more people know that they could be living and not dying, that there's so many young people in the city that don't think they're going to live past 18, 20, 24, and that really impacts the decisions they make. And we need to make sure that they understand they can live and not die.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you, Doc. Appreciate everything you've been helping me with this process. And the last introduction before we get into the questions and the good stuff is one of my mentors who's been doing this work over 40 years, helping out young people, and who I believe personally, and this is me speaking, he is a leader amongst us. But I think, I know Doc has so much more to offer. This is why I invited him back. And I'm honored to introduce a man who I know care about our youth, who's been in the education system for over 30 years, teaching and training young men and women who, when we in the streets, they say that was my principal. And you helped me out. You changed my life. You stopped me from going into a gang. You did this for my family. This is the kind of man that Dr. Bundley is, and these are the kind of men that we have on this line. So go right ahead, Doc. Thank you, sir.
I'd like to thank everybody that's on this call. But as I was listening to everybody, one of the things I'm just thankful for the guys, as they call them, the OGs of my neighborhood, Whitelock Street, who gave me a chance, didn't allow me to go to prison, that didn't allow me, that told me, and I ended up believing them, and do whatever it is that you want to do. You don't have to go to prison. So I thank Big Love. Right? Thank Slim Butler. I thank Big Slim. I thank all of those, Melvin Williams. I thank all of those dudes around Whitelock Street, Pennsylvania Avenue, basically poured in me and told me I could be better, and I believe that. And so all I want to do for the rest of my life, all I ever did when I finished school and was able to be blessed to never think that I would come from Whitelock Street and go to Penn State University, let alone finish Penn State University, get a name other than that my mom gave me. Andrey is what she gave me. But then they gave me a title called Dr. Bundley, right? And so I never thought that could happen based on where we started. But here, I'm clear about now, it's got to happen for millions, and not just people getting doctorate degrees, people becoming the best that they can become, gotta become the best they can become. And the recalcitrant professionals, the professionals who think that they have it because they have titles, and I'm not denigrating titles, I got it. You know, I grew up in the streets of Baltimore, I communicate in the suites of Baltimore. But I'm just telling you, the individuals who are in these streets, on this call, not on this call, you gotta let these people be involved with solving the problem. They are clear breakers. You gotta help them, allow them to help fix it. They help to break it. And many of them will say, I helped to break a certain place in Baltimore. So the collective talent we have in Baltimore, we gotta get them moving in the same direction. No ego. EB and I were talking today. Nobody has ever been able to say otherwise. What we see is the truth in this state, that everybody wants to be somebody, whether it be good or bad. Most people say, whether through their actions or through their words, you will recognize me. I am somebody, I'm going to be somebody. And whatever it is that they choose to be, they want to be the best at it. So if they want to rob banks, they want to be the best at whatever it is that they want to do. And so what we have to do is allow individuals such as the individuals on this call and individuals that are not on this call. And as Andrew said, there's so many people who could have been on this call. We just didn't have enough space. Who are very qualified to do this work. You know, one of my guys I've been jamming with, and there's a lot of them. I won't call them names, and then I won't call them names. So the fact of the matter is that a lot of guys that can be on here. But here's what you have to be able to do. And Andrew referenced EB early. EB had me, I came into the prison because I heard about him, the work that he was doing. He was doing fabulous work. And the person that told me about the work, and I was like, man, that dude ain't doing that kind of work. I had to go over to MPC myself. And then I found myself going in there monthly, working with him and the guys, right? The things that you gotta be able to do, you gotta be able to build relationships. So that's the first thing that when I look at organizations, when I look at principals in schools, when I look at all of that, if you don't have a relationship with your children, I don't have to see nothing else. I don't have to stay in the building. The principal don't know his children, her children by name and by need. I don't have to say anything else, because you got to know them by their name and their need. And if you don't have those kind of relationships, you can't get anything done. Here, whatever it is. So I'm just happy that we are here, and I'm thankful that people are beginning to understand that you gotta be individuals who are on the right side, and that's on the contribution. Because we got two groups of people in our show. If you listen carefully and test this out, you got two groups of people in Baltimore. When you talk about Baltimore, because Baltimore is the name of the city. So Baltimore is really not the name of the city, it's its people. And you got two groups of people. You got those who are concerned about Baltimore. Watch the concerned people. If you follow them around, you're gonna see them trying to contribute. Concerned people contribute. Then you got the people that complain about Baltimore. If you follow them around, all they do is criticize. Concerned people contribute. Complaining people criticize. So everybody get an opportunity to stand up and take a side. Where you gonna be? That's what I want to ask everybody. Where you gonna be? For the rest of my days, I'm gonna be over on the concerned side. And God willing, I hope I can contribute. Thank you for allowing me to share.
And thank you, Doc. I appreciate that. I want to thank the audience for being patient with us during the introduction. This was very important because I know everybody don't know everybody. So it's important that you have an idea of the individuals that's speaking. So thank you all for being patient. We're gonna get right into the questions. So the first question is gonna be for, we're gonna go right back through the same list, Brother Antonio. And what I wanna say to the audience is, study exactly what they are saying. Please take notes, and then also be prepared to ask questions at some point. Adam will let us know when. So I just want us to pay close attention because we got some very important questions. And you know, we understand over the last 7 years we've been averaging over 300 murders. A lot of the murders, unfortunately, been Black men, and they've been the perpetrators and the victims. Is when we had 309 murders. 275 of the murders was Black men. 175 of the murders was headshots. Now, I just want us to study them numbers again. I'm gonna say that one more time. 309 murders in 2018. 275 of the murders was Black men, and 175 of the murders was headshots. Now, we studied that data for one reason and one reason only, because that we wanted to find out what was the reason. Well, let me just say 175 was headshots. We knew somebody had to be close to that individual to shoot him in his head. He had to know that individual or knew of the individual. So what we came up with was we needed to start a movement geared towards Black men, because the data, the numbers don't lie. And so we started focusing on Black men and Black men only, because we knew that was a part of the problem. Black men killing Black men. And that's how We Are Us was birthed. And the number one goal was stop the murder, stop the violence, stop the shooting, stop the killing. And we found out that a lot of the neighborhoods or a lot of the gangs was warm with each other. So my question to you, Brother Antonio, what tools can we use to prevent youth from joining gangs and neighborhood cliques? And then also, why do they carry weapons? So it's a two-part question, but you can answer the first one and we'll move on to the second one with Raekwon. But the first question is, Brother Antonio, you was once in a gang, you carry guns. What tools can we use to prevent youth from joining gangs and neighborhood cliques?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Good question. Deep question. First, before I deal with the tools that we should use to get youth to not join a gang. First, we have to understand why do they join a gang? So when you look into that aspect, there was a study that was conducted in 2006 where it said approximately 24 million children were living without a biological father in their household. And then when you look at the statistics again, they said that 40% of the children that their father didn't live in their household haven't seen their children in 12 months, a year. So what these youth are seeking is a feeling of belonging to. They're seeking a feeling of love. They're seeking a feeling of some type of social activity. So we know that the mind is a subtotal of knowledge that's gained through the totality of life experience. So the first thing that we need to do is we have to create new experiences for these youth. We have to place these youth in environments to receive training. Because a wise man once said that no matter how much good is in a person, if you place that person in the wrong environment, it'll bring the worst out of them. So we have to create an environment, and this environment have to be environment that is teaching and training. So one of the most effective things that was taught to me and is still very effective is today is that understanding first and foremost who I am. See, if I don't understand who I am, then I'm going to be what the world portrays me to be. And if I don't meet a man, if I don't have a role model, then I'm not going to know how to play my role. Last thing, Brother Cap, whenever you give a student a mathematical equation, the first thing you do is you give that student what is called an example question. And based on the example, the student can study the example and look at the example, and within that example, they can see the answer to that problem. And all they have to do is follow the example correctly, and then the problem will be solved. So I think, to answer the question, new environment, new experience, and new training, Brother Cat. And that's what you have absolutely, and y'all have absolutely done for me. Thank you, Brother Cat.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. And I always say this, and this is a conversation that we've been having lately. If you give us the resources and you put us in McCullough homes, you put us in Gilmore homes, you put us in Lexington and Terrace, you put us in Poe homes, you put us in a community with strong men that want to make a change, fearless men, and you give us the resources, we can guarantee you that we'll make a change in 1 year in everybody's lives. But resources is king. And I'm not just talking about money, but we have to start from somewhere, and that's what we're striving to do. So the next question is a very important question for our young people, for Raekwon. And social media, hip hop, the rap game, the drill music is making a major impact on our children, on our youth.
Yeah.
And you know, it has a heavy influence on their thinking that it's almost like the music is controlling them.
Yeah.
So Raekwon, as a brother who's in a community, as a brother who's in a hip hop game, is in a rap game, and you in the trenches on a regular, you talk to a lot of the rappers in the city and around the country. Talk to us about the role that the hip hop community plays on our youth mind, and what can we do to make a difference? How can we change that? Go right ahead, sir. Thank you.
Yes, sir. That's a great question, a very much needed question. First is to identify what do people that's thinking people, they have religion, or they have family, or they have organizations. Outside of that, the masses in social media around, they call it the culture, right? So I started moving called the culture shift, but let's focus on what the culture is. The culture is a way of life, right? And we all heard of the word cult. When you take off a culture, it's cult. The cult is a way that seems like life, but really is a death style. So when you got the media, and which is the most effective way to be on social media, and the only way, you then got to look at how is the people represented, ethnic groups. When you see a black man, 9 times out of 10, you see this black man, and he was selling drugs, and he's being celebrated. He's either disrespecting the black woman in particular and being celebrated. Or you see the black woman degrading herself by twerking, stripping, prostitution, OnlyFans. This is social media. They're being celebrated. Social means free to love, right? So social, free, and love is all cohesive, right? So when you talk about social media, you're talking about sending messages. So as these children, we are parents, right? And it's more important to get on this issue more now than ever because of this pandemic got us in the house, and they got these children on the phone and adults on the phone more than ever. You cannot hide them from TikTok. You cannot hide them from Instagram because they're going to find a way. And what I'm saying is that when I went to I'm from Baltimore. When I went to O Block, trained up by UCAT, It was the same thing in Baltimore, and people don't. And I'm saying O Block for a reason, because it's one of the worst neighborhoods in America, right? The same thing that they make millions of dollars of in that community is the same thing they get locked up for. So what's needed is you need to counterbalance it. We don't have no artists that's in the city that's being promoted. We have no positive groups like the We Are Us. No one's putting millions of dollars behind the We Are Us movement and saying, Black boy, be with this group and you'll be successful. No, they're saying sell dope. And I do marketing and I do filmmaking. So I'm a part of the arts because that's what culture is. And I know for a fact that marketing executives, right, when they're looking for the next Black thing, they go into the jails, and they have ways to block positive messages. They have ways to block great positive Black leaders. So what we need is, starting in Baltimore, we need to come together and push something that's positive towards the media and remove the blockage, right? Because I talked to Squirrel White, I talked to 92Q Pork Chop, and they heard my music when I did a performance with over 500 people at the Martin Luther King event, and they said, man, it's great. But guess what? He gave me that look, and I said, what was the look? And I knew the look. It was, we don't play positive music on here. No radio stations does it, because the powers that control the narrative of Black men. So if we can get together and take them same marketing dollars, them same dollars that we put, just half of that, into making a Black man look like a nigga, excuse my language, a savage, a murderer, and change that image, because them Black boys picking up that phone before they brush their teeth. And that Black girl picking up that phone before she brushed her teeth. All she's seeing is murders and stripping. And that's a time and market the positive. That's what will help change the idea of the people in social media and culture.
Man, beautiful. And I want you to stay with that, because we're going to come back to that later on.
Absolutely, sir.
Because
yes, sir.
that rap game is very deep and is hurting our community.
Yes,
Not
sir.
all the rappers, but a lot of them. It's hurting our community.
Yes, sir.
And we have to find a way
Sure.
to fix that, to make it better. We don't want to stop the brothers from rapping and making money for that family, but we have to find a way. We got to have greater examples. And I hear you loud and clear. And for the people who don't know what O Block is, that's in Chicago. And he said it's one of the most dangerous neighborhood in America. Absolutely. Thank you for that, Raekwon.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Kat.
We want to go to EB, and EB, we want to talk right about the gangs, because a lot of us don't have the knowledge of what the impact that the gangs are having, or street organizations, or neighborhood cliques, the impact that they're having on the community. And a street organization, what I call them, I don't call them gangs, but a street organization, they can control the drug trade. They can control who comes in and out of the block. They even can control the transportation, meaning that you can't even let grandma walk down the block with her groceries. I mean, that's what some of these organizations does when they organize and structure, or the people are just afraid of them, and I'm gonna be very transparent. When I first started hearing about the gangs in Baltimore, I was very concerned, because I didn't know who the leaders were. And if you're going to do this work in our city, and you got Bloods, Crips, BGF, GDs, neighborhood cliques, you got to know who the leaders are if you really want to make an impact. If not, you ain't going to do nothing. So that was one of my goals. That was one of our goals, to find out who are the OGs, who are the leaders, so I can sit down with these guys and find out, bruh, we have to make a change in this community. Too many people are dying. So that was our approach. You first got to identify the leaders. But EB, my question and our question to you, EB, what can we do to slow down the gang violence, the neighborhood violence, the street organization violence, what can we do? And I know you already been doing it. You said it earlier. But what can we do? Because there's a lot of people are afraid of it, afraid of that word, gang, cliques. What can we do? Help us out, EB. Talk to us.
Well, I guess we all have something that we can add to this piece. And I know that we all have our own way of going about doing things. But I found, for me, for the peace team, what has been successful for us. The first thing you gotta have is love. And I don't want, if it's young people only, I don't want to sound corny, man. I'm as real as you're gonna get, bro. But you gotta have some love. You gotta have courage. You have to have consistency, and you have to have relationships. And so we walked for 3 years. As we are us, we walked for 3 years. The crime didn't go down when we walked. The murder rate didn't go down. But we wasn't walking to lower the murder rate. Because we knew walking wouldn't lower the murder rate. So what we was doing was walking and engaging. We were showing people who we were and letting them tell us who they were. We was going into communities asking, what do this community need? We didn't come and tell them what the community need. And they gave us the feedback. But we was consistent in doing it. We consistently showed up. And so, and we consistently showed them love, and we knew in doing this, I mean, we not no pussycat guys, man. You know, we some rough dudes. We didn't come up the right way. We came up on as somehow we was there on the rough side of the mountain. And so when we go into these neighborhoods, understand that we did encounter the mentality of the killers. Understand that we engaged and encountered the shooters in their own hood. And we walked out without a scratch every time. Why? Because we had to channel out in a Martin. I say it all the time. Look, we got Malcolm in us and we got Martin in us. When we going out here, unarmed, in their hood, on their turf, and they strap, we have to channel out in a Martin. And we got it. So when we hear the things, and don't think we didn't hear, hey, man, I wish y'all get the hell out of my neighborhood, man. Y'all blowing our spot up. Hey, man, y'all too loud. Come on, man, y'all staying too long. We heard all of that. But we was right back 2 days later. And the one who said that 2 days ago was now saying, you still got that job.
Yep.
So we understood it. We sucked it all up. We took all that beating. We took all the verbal attacks. But when they seen that we was consistently loving them, that's when they opened up to us. So you have to show that you're consistent. You have to show that you're consistent. And we understood that, and being consistent, now it opens the door for us. Loving them opens the door, having the courage to engage men with guns in one of the deadliest cities in America. You got to have that kind of courage. You can't do it from a pulpit. You can't do it from City Hall. You can't do it from a safe house. You got to engage them straight up. And so that's what our walking did. It allowed them to find out who we are. And now when we come into communities and people still say those little things, the young men in the community now check them. Hey, don't talk to them brothers like that. That's our brothers. Hey, we are us. Don't do that, man. Don't come around. We don't do that with them. That's what has happened. We ain't make it this way, man. This is the result of our hard work. And so, like I said, walking wasn't going to lower the murder rate. But We understood what that was, and now we entered the second phase, and that's what they did. The brothers helped train us up. And so the peace team didn't pop up on York Road. We was trained by We Are Us and sent up on York Road to show now the work of We Are Us, of lowering the murder rate.
Come on.
And so that's why we got those numbers. We were trained, and now we had this, now we're going into Park Heights. And we're going to continue this work all through this city. And I know some of you, man, y'all going to want us in your neighborhoods, man. And that's why we're going to tell you, you got to press your councilman. You got to press your senate. You got to press City Hall, because we want to bring peace to this whole city. But it takes consistency. It takes courage. It takes love. And we willing to do it. And it takes more than anything. Let me tell you this, man. I could never, as I said, relationships. And when I say relationships, I want to tell you this, man. In building relationship, you got to be humble. You got to be humble. So when you got sisters like Sister Lisa, you got Sister Ebony, you got a Sister Andrea, you got all these sisters who have organizations where they were number one. They was number one. They had the first say and the final say. And they stepped away from that to join us, to join what was considered an all-male movement. Because they understood, man, I ain't trying to be the big eye. I'm trying to help kill the violence in this city. And the same thing, it's the same thing that the men done. The women has done the same thing. And man, we thank y'all. We thank y'all. We thank y'all for your support. And we thank y'all for electing us. We thank y'all for electing us. And Kat and Doc, we thank y'all for the motivation. We thank y'all for the idea that Almighty God had developed through y'all hard work, through y'all consistency, right? Through y'all love, man. And so this is how you deal, and this is how you deal with gangs. This is how you deal with violence. Whether your gang got a name, whether it's CBS, Calhoun, Bacon, Stricker, whether it's OYC, no matter different. You put any name you want. At the end of the day, it's still young Black men. It's still young Black men looking for somebody to look up to, looking for somebody to love. And I'm going too far now. I talk too much. That's enough. I talk too much.
Hey, thank you. Hey, bro, you don't normally talk that much. So I needed to hear that. We needed to hear that. Thank you for that. And you gave facts. We don't have no liars on here. You gave facts. We don't have people making stuff up. This is real stuff. And we have many examples that we can share. We want to keep it going. Thank you, EB. Greg, you up next. The question for you, Greg, and I want to make sure to hear you, Greg. It's very important because you were saying that you was doing a little bit of talking, but the people, you was going in and out. I want to make sure they hear you on this. So you talked about all the times you was shot. You talked about all the times you was stabbed, almost 30 years in prison. Now you giving back to the community. Hey, Greg, what made you, why you keep them guns on you? Why was you doing all that, involved in all that violence at a young age? And so, hold up. Last thing. And I want you to look at it today with all the shooting and killing today. How do you fix that? You can do both questions, but the mentality is the same from 30 years ago to right now with the gun in the hand. So talk to us about that, Greg.
So originally, just like the brother Antonio X said, I didn't have a father in the house. So I was told that I had to be the man while he wasn't around. At the time, I'm only 5'6" now. I was 4 feet back then, and I understood that little guys got rolled over by big guys. So I was always taught to go to find out who the leader was and get with him, and everybody else gonna scatter. So if the gun gave you power. right? Originally, the gun gave you power, and that's why a lot of people carry it, right? But now, people so traumatized today, the gun is carried out of fear. The gun is carried and used out of fear. It's like, I'm not going to let what happened to something such happen to me. So I'm going to stay strapped, but it gives you a false sense of security. Because like I told you, I got shot 9 times with a gun in my hand. 9 times. I was getting hit so many times, I couldn't even get one off. So it's a false sense of security, but they still tend to believe that, and a bunch of the young guys get scraped off the street with a gun still in their dip, didn't even get a chance to get it out. It presents a false sense of security, and they constantly being pumped into our communities. But we have to learn how to empower our youth without them believing that the gun is the power or the gun is the safety. Because I don't carry no gun, I don't do none of that today. I still walk through the same streets, encounter the same people. I'm no longer a part of the activity, but I move through the same streets with impunity, right? So we have to empower them to make them believe. Even if I get in an argument with somebody, a debate or whatever, I'm not going to strap up. I'm not going to get no gun because I trust in my Creator and my Savior. I have a purpose for being here. And until He's ready for me to go, I'm not going nowhere. But I've been trained up in the way I should go now. I'm trained up in the way that I can deal with conflict. I've been taught conflict mediation and conflict resolution and inject them back into the same community where I once wreaked havoc as an antidote against the disease of violence. So now I use those trainings to my advantage. I show the love, right? They don't understand. I speak to people even though I don't speak back, but I keep speaking to them until I break them down, right? I show the love. I meet them at their need. I find out what they need and I get it for them. And they don't understand why a stranger went out his way to get, because see, I am you. I'm you who I used to be. So even though I may not know your name, I know you because I'm looking at myself, you know, when I'm doing this. So we need love. Like, we need not to think love is corny, because they looking for love. So if we think love is corny, then we're not going to give it to them. And that's what they looking for. See, but they looking for love in all the wrong places, like the song say. They looking for love in all the wrong places. And the people that's giving them the love, they like me. For me, I say I'm directly and indirectly responsible. Somebody took me and say, I like Shorty. I like how he currently would take my teacher what he need to know. And I took 50 more and did the same thing to them, believing that was my rite of passage and it was theirs too. So I misinformed these guys, believing I was properly informing them. But as I got older and I seen different, I started to see how I negatively impacted my community and my brothers. And now that's why I'm so passionate about being a part of helping clean up what I messed up.
Yes, sir. Thank you, brother. Powerful. We heard you good this time. We heard you loud and clear. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. And you gave both equations. The fake power with the gun in his hand and the real power without the gun. And that's what we got to do. We got to teach the youngins that gun don't represent power. Once we give them the real foundation. Thank you for that, bro, Greg.
Also, brother, we have to address their trauma, because they're carrying the guns out of the fear from the trauma that they experienced. So the trauma had to be addressed. We had to work on their emotional intelligence, all that, because all that play a factor.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Thank you, bro. Yes, sir. So go ahead.
Just want to pause real quick. Want to encourage people in the audience, if you have a question, to go and use the Q&A, because we're going to be moving to the Q&A in a little while. But I wanted to make sure that folks who may have been listening to this powerful conversation this evening, if you have anything you want to add, anything you want to put into the conversation, if you want to make a remark, just a reminder, go click on that Q&A button to submit a question. And also you can click on the raise hand feature. You can raise your hand and verbally speak a question or make a comment tonight. I just want to make sure folks who are listening to tonight's conversation, I know folks have a lot of opinions, a lot of perspective. And, you know, if you want to add to the conversation, please feel free. I'll be looking out for your questions in the Q&A box, and I'll be looking to see if you raise your hand. Thank you.
Excellent. Who's next? Did you, Raekwon? Who's next? Yeah, man, listen, y'all got me so fired up. I lost who was next.
I think it's Brandon.
It's Brandon.
Okay, great. Thank y'all. So Brandon, what my question for you is, and we have to talk about this because a lot of us don't want to discuss this, but the prison population with the gangs inside play a major role on the outside. And when we talk about prison and going to visit prisons, it's like a burning building. It's a burning fire. Nobody want to go into the burning building, because if you go in there free, you go in there for one reason, and that's to change them brothers' thinking, to resurrect their mind and change life. And then also, the goal for us when we go in there is to find out if they got sons outside, as well as are they connected to any gangs on the outside. Because the goal was for us to bring them, ask them brothers to meet with us. And that worked on many occasions. But talk to us about the role inside the prison, Brandon, not jail, but prison, where you spent almost 17 years at. Talk to us about what role that we can play in making an impact on these brothers that's affiliated on the inside as well as the outside, because we have to connect the dots. And so give us some light on that, Brandon. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I think that is a very important question, because, like, for me, spending so much time in prison from 20 to the age of 36, I didn't see many people coming in bringing resources. You know, the first time I met you was in Roxbury. You know, I met you inside the prison, whereas though you was bringing resources. But they are different groups that do bring resources in, but more people need to be allowed inside the prison system, because we need to see examples of success happening on the streets. Because if you have no access to society other than the news, well, when you watch the news every night, every time you watch the news from in prison, you see murder, robberies, shooting, Baltimore Hilton, man get killed, North and Long, 3 people got shot over East Baltimore. So you watching the news every night. And what we do, we come on the TED, yo, you seen that shooting last night? Yo, you seen this, you seen that? What this puts in your mind is that I have to carry a gun when I come home, because you develop this mindset from watching the news every night. So now you thinking, when I come home, that ain't gonna happen to me. So I'm gonna make sure that I get a gun before I go home. So this is the mindset that men take on, right? So it's very important that we make sure the people that's in prison have access to men and women who are doing productive things in society, especially stories like myself. Because I came home from prison after serving 16 years. I started a cleaning company with your help, right? Then I started a trucking company as well. And now, like I said, I'm part of the We Are Us movement. I'm you know, in rooms that I never thought I would be in. So, you know, it's just about putting hope in a man's mind, because we be inside that prison, you'll lose hope. So it's really important just to instill hope and make sure that individual have access to men or organizations that he can tap into before he come home.
Oh, thank you, brother. Beautiful, 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 beautiful. Thank you. And I want to thank the audience once again for being patient with us. We have about 2 more questions and 2 more speakers, and we're going to go right into the questions so the board, the panelists can ask the questions. But thank you for that. A lot of information in that piece right there, Brandon. Thank you for that. So Raekwon, you next, right? I'm on point. I'm on point. So Raekwon, I want you to think about this, what I'm about to say. But this is about the young people.
Yes,
so hey, Adam, are you able to put them pictures up that I sent you just briefly?
Yes, sir. I can share right now.
Okay, great.
One sec.
Okay. And I know Raekwon, you had a rough upbringing.
Yes, sir.
You had a real rough upbringing. And the only reason why I know, because you told me about it. You know, and this block, you can just leave it right there. that could Larry with his We Are Us hoodie on. You can leave it right there. This is the 1600 block of North Port Street. Two of my students lives on this block with their mother. The father is not there. And I had a conversation with them the other day. And we was talking about, you know, jobs, money, drugs. And then the conversation came out about food. So when I mentioned food being in the refrigerator, they started laughing. But they wasn't laughing because I talked about it. They was laughing because they didn't have no food in the refrigerator. And this is real talk. And we was able to, you know, thank God we was able to get their mother a job this week. Now we get ready to help the 17-year-old get a job because she want to move off of that block. It's only 2 houses on that block. And I only think one person living in that house, which is her. And Raekwon, so when a young man that's 13 years old, 14 years old, 15 years old, growing up in this kind of environment, and he's waking up every day, he has to go to school with no food in the refrigerator. The mother's not on drugs, she's doing her best. She's doing her best. The 17-year-old, he's the man of the house, but he don't have no job. He don't have a high school diploma, but this is what he's waking up to every day. I didn't go inside their house, and I'm not even, but I want to say that, you know, prayerfully, it's a clean house. There's no rats in there. There's no roaches in there. There's no mice in there. I don't know. But what I do know is we can easily think that because of the picture that we're looking at.
Yeah.
So the way I see it, if we don't help this family out, them 2 little brothers, they're going to be in prison or they're going to be on the streets shooting and killing, right? So this is going on all across Baltimore City.
Yeah.
Man, we talk about resources. We talk about going into the community. We talk about helping young men out like that, because this is what this is all about. How do we help young men out that's in this condition right here, that's in this environment? How do we help them change their thinking? How do we, and I'm talking about young men, what steps can we take when we engage in these brothers that got to go home to this? Talk to us about that, Raekwon.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's a very powerful, very, very powerful field question. And you know, I can bear witness, that was my house. You know, that was the type of block I was raised up around. And I just know for a fact what was needed growing up was really an understanding, a real solid understanding. And what I mean by that is this. You know, in them houses, and we're in them houses and we leave out and our friends, be around our friends, a lot of times we see people in the same condition mentally, got trash mindset. And it's really because of this. When we go and watch TV and when we go into our phones, right? No matter what's going on in our house or in them streets, what we looking for a way out of our condition. And in this condition, what we see is, without having the knowledge of self or God or anything, because we don't know nothing about that, all we see is talent. If I can make it out, because it's extreme poverty, extreme drug addiction, extreme murders, right? I need to find an extreme measure of making it out. And when I go on the TV, I see Lil Wayne rapping with diamonds in his mouth, with a whole bunch of tattoos, talking crazy. So in my mind, I'm thinking, man, I got to do that. Whatever I got, that's what I got to do to make it out the hood. When it comes to sport, you look at sports and you say, man, if I don't get these grades right, I'm gonna have to sell some drugs. Not because I want to, but because look at my condition, my mother going through, look at my grandfather going through, my grandmother. And when we look up, I'm looking for other way out without the army. We look at the army. So when I'm looking on this computer and I'm going through all this trauma, I see a resolution. I see a solution. The solution is this. I gotta find a talent, which is either music or for a sister, it's prostitution or stripping. not because that's the only way out, because they don't know nothing about arts, but because of this. And I gotta say it, in TikTok China, right? They show people in their communities that's scientists, this their youth, that's doing something positive to create positive creation and mechanisms. Their algorithm go up. An algorithm is a mathematical equation that raises the chances of your video being shown. Everybody want to be seen, right? For the right thing to make some money. In their communities, if you do something positive, you're gonna get highlighted. But in America, right? If you do something positive, you will get blocked. So we see brothers like you once in a blue moon. We see the brothers that's on this page once in a blue moon. But when I'm waking up, I'm seeing somebody get murdered. I'm seeing somebody rap about killing, murders, and drugs, or they rapping about drugs. So that's my means of making it out. So I gotta rap about it. And now we in an era where though it's the information age. If I'm rapping, I gotta go sell some. I might not even want to sell drugs, but to get them likes and them follows, I'm gonna start selling some weed, right? And this is what these youths, when you see them leave out the house, they got them earphones on and they looking up to the NBA young boys. They're looking up to the Boosies, the Lil Waynes, right? And it's so powerful that all they know is the extremities out of their condition is, I gotta have a talent, and the talent is not subjugated to uplifting the community. So no matter how good we look in our suits, when these black brothers see a brother with a Benz pull up and they know he a dope dealer, they're gonna listen to him. They're listening to me too, but guess what? When they leave the building that we at the Isle Rec Center, it's more dudes selling drugs. They quantifying their success. I look on TV, it's more dudes that's selling drugs that's making it than it's dudes that's help in the community with Safe Streets, in the community with Brother EB that ran a gang, in the community with Brother they're the only group. And they not, and this is what it hits. They not getting no love. They not getting no public attention. People always say they're personal attention, or you always want some attention. First of all, attention is natural, it's normal. But the thing is, what are you getting attention about? Because the girl is stripper and she getting 1 million views? Because she's a public whore? Because that's what they putting. If you're a whore, you're gonna be famous, black girl, right? Black boy, if you sell drugs, you're gonna be famous. So where is the media push? It's a must, because guess what? Now I can talk to Brother Andrew, and then when I go on my phone, man, no, this stuff might be working. And I do marketing, and I do filmmaking. This is the last point, it's very critical, right? It's just like this. In marketing, right? They say it takes over 7 times for a song, for you to actually like a song. So everybody on this line has a song they heard before they didn't like. But when you go to that radio, you keep hearing that song, and it just keep playing, it does something to your subconscious mind. So when you got these positive black men that's in your life once a week, twice a week, that's great. And it may do something, and some people make it from it, right? But when you go home and you listening to that music and you saying that poverty, drugs being sold, and you hear people that saying, man, I'm successful, look at all this money, look at this money, I'm selling drugs. That's the way out. 9 times out of 10, you're going to submit to the force, because people do not feel like they're being sold on something. So when you keep saying something, it's going to make you feel like that's the natural thing to do. And that's what marketing and pushing these negative images of black people does the most. So the answer is changing the effect on the media. Baltimore, no, we're going to have positive men come up here and speak at the news. We're going to have positive men. We're going to allocate money for positive arts, not drug dealing, not murderers, not bragging about it, but people who change their lives. Let's create some arts for these people, because there's a lot of the black boys that's going through trauma. They got a message. They're like, man, I'm gonna go here instead of there. So it's really taking that currency, that money, and that attention and that energy, because that's all money is expended energy, and putting it into the positive, not always focusing on a drug dealer or the murderer. Let's focus on a brother Brandon who did 16 years. Let's focus on the ex-gangbanger. So all the gangbangers who really want to leave can say, man, listen, he getting some shine about that. Okay, this brother, he got shot 10 times and he's still being positive. And they supporting him and making a TV show for him, and they got a rec center. What? I'm going. I don't gotta go to the army, because we're already in a war zone in Baltimore. That's all I gotta say.
Man, love it. Yes, sir. Love it. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Hey, you said it. Dr. Bundley always talk about messaging. You on it, bro. And I'm gonna tell you something. That's one of our objectives, what you just described. Thank you for that. And it's going to take some currency, which you just said. So so our last speaker before we go into the questions, Adam. Doc, I got a question for you, Doc. Can you hear me, Doc?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so Doc, so what roles do drugs, guns, money play in young men affiliated with gangs, and how can these be replaced? So Doc, what I want to do is basically for you to describe for us on the young men. They may start at your school in the kindergarten. How do we keep them focused, Doc, from the kindergarten to college, or from kindergarten to a career, without getting caught up in them guns? What do we have to do to make that a reality? What tools we need to use to help these young men not to go through what Raekwon just described?
So let me start in the worst condition and move back to the best condition. I want to go back with everything that Raekwon said, and I want to talk about what EB said earlier. So before they went up there, the crime in that one particular, they call them posts up there, over in Northwest Baltimore. Get the posts. They were having major crime. It dropped. Crime dropped and things happened. It went up 85% positive. So what did they do? Raekwon just said, in order for things to be reversed, you gotta have repetition 6 to 7 times. They gotta see the positive 6 to 7 times. So if you look at what the brothers, EB's leadership and the other big homies over there, the violence it just almost disappeared. The food that they gave those youngsters, they did it 6 to 7 times, or if not more. The recognition to them brothers doing something positive, they did 6 to 7 times, if not more. All right, so everything you do, repetition is the mother of skill. Show me somebody that's good at something, and I don't care if you're good at doing the bad thing. If you show me somebody that's good at something good or something bad, I will show you its mother. And its mother is repetition. So that's it. So when you talk about kindergarten all the way up, I can use your son and what you're doing with him. I can do what I'm still doing with my 26-year-old, who was in kindergarten and is getting ready to launch his own business in a space over in EBDI, over there West East Baltimore, right? But it is repetition. It is you are-ing them until they can I am themselves. That's what Antonio was talking about. If you tell them, you gotta you are your children until they can I am themselves. Love is not phony. I work with a lot of other people's children, but I led with love. With their love gave me an opportunity for the relationship. Relationship, quality, connected relationship. And we use a formula for it. And I'll shut down with this. This is basic science, evidence-based practice. We use the formula for relationships. It's C plus C over C equals C. So let me just tell you what the C's are. It's C, character plus competence over consistency equals credibility. So that's the relationship that you gotta have. So what does that look like as a principal of a school, as a parent or whatever? First, see character. I always tell my son, 50% of your genes are something that you were born with. Character is the rest of it that you have. Character is give your word, keep it. Competence is you got to be able to do what you say. So you can't be up in York Road and say, look, if you do this, yo, I'm going to get you a job. If you come home, I'm going to get you a job, and don't do it. So you got character, give your word, keep it, plus competence. Do what you say. Competence is I can do what I say I'm going to do. And if you do that over consistency, then you know what they're going to say? That dude real. That's credibility. C plus C over C equals C, right? And that's what it is. It's consistency. Steph Curry can shoot the basketball because of repetition. Repetition is the mother of skill. Raekwon can come from a condition based on that picture that we saw. More than 6 to 7 times he changed because they say it takes 30 days to create a habit, good or bad. 30 days at the minimum. But in order to repeat something, you got to at least see it 6 times before you remember. This is, y'all not old enough. Phil probably, y'all get one of them. But when we were growing up, the cigarette commercial, they had a commercial that said, whiskey tastes good. And everybody said, like a cigarette should. But that's what happened during my generation. For those of you that are 50 years old, they have a commercial on and say, how do you spell release? And most people say R-O-L-A-I-D-S. Now you know that it's not how you spell release, Rolaids. But soon as I said, how do you spell relief? If you thought R-O-L-A-I-D-S, then they hit you 6 times or more for you to even finish the statement. And that's what we can do with our people. So real resources. Can't have people wait. When them dudes come home from prison, right? You gotta have that job wait for them. Don't say it if you ain't gonna do it. So that's it, Kat. It's repetition, 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 repetition. That's it. And you gotta have relationships. Gotta have relationships.
Oh, beautiful, Doc. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Man, this has been awesome. I wanna go right to the audience because I've seen a whole bunch of questions. Adam, can we?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Go right here, Adam.
All right. So we have a question from Robin Christian. Do you believe? The question is, do you believe that the Stop Snitching campaign or Stop Snitching in general has contributed to the demise of our communities? Statistics show that the increase from 2004, which is, I believe, when the Stop Snitching video came out. So Stop Snitching has it contributed to the demise of our communities?
Man, that's a great question. So what we want to do, I want to go in order unless it's something specific, but that's open. That's an open question. Do somebody want to answer that? Take your thing off, Antonio. Take your mute off.
I was actually repeating the question over in my head.
Oh, okay, got you. Okay, so do anybody want to answer that question? Right?
I think so. Yes, I think it has. I think we got a big rat culture. Like we got animal rats and we got physical rats, right? And it's a really, really big thing not to be a rat. And I chose to speak on this because this is why they need people like us, right? Because we know who shot who and we know why it happened, but it stays with us. We are neutral. We are non-judgmental and neutral. Our thing is to prevent it from happening and prevent retaliation. This is why we are better at doing this work, because people trust us. We are credible messengers. We've made our bones. You know who we are. That's why we can jump in the middle and say, wait a minute, stop. And nobody say, who the hell is you? Because they know who we are, right? They know what we've done. They know we understand. So we can get them from 100 down to 50 and begin to work with them. So this is why that Stop Snitching and the rat thing is really heavy, and it has a lot to do with police relationships up because they can't protect them. See, so what we do, we take what they give us, we hold it close to our chest, and we mediate conflicts. We give a person every reason in the world why they shouldn't do something, instead of being that the devil on this side giving you all the reasons why you should. You know.
I mean, and that's it. The answer is absolutely yes. Greg said it. So hopefully that person was helped out who answered that question. Next question, bro, Adam.
All right, so I'm actually looking through the chat right now because I saw that there were other questions that people were putting in the chat earlier. I did see a question about young people and fixing houses, vacant homes in Baltimore. So I think that could actually be a bigger question about youth employment in Baltimore. How do you get young people employment, and can that be a deterrent from engaging in violent behavior or gang activity?
Yeah,
I'll take that, Cat.
Go ahead, Doc.
So yeah, it's absolutely. I've had that conversation with 3 credible individuals in the last 3 days, right? So absolutely, it can happen, because basically you gotta give people something that they can have a craft, because everybody want to be somebody. I mean, a person can get the same high that fix houses, that build houses, if he's getting paid just as the same high as the person who play ball. Everybody want to be somebody. Everybody want to have that craft. Raekwon got a craft. He feel good about himself. I watch him. So he got his cameras. He invested in his cameras. He invested in his studio. They just want to be somebody. Like he said, that social media make everybody want to be a star. So yeah, that housing piece, the jobs, and all of those pieces. This is what I love about this generation. They don't want jobs. They want to be business owners. they want to be entrepreneurs.
Facts.
I have a son that
Facts.
he said, I'm not working for nobody. And so his progression has been just that. Cap, you know what's going on with Shorty. His progression has just been that.
Absolutely.
You got to have somebody that supports you in terms of where you're trying to go. You want to be an entrepreneur? Let's go get it. So yeah,
yes, sir.
It can happen.
Let me add something to what Doc said. When we first started down juvenile justice, one of our biggest goals was, once they were released, we wanted to get them some employment, right? Because we knew they wanted money, they needed money. Most of them was hustling. So we started aggressively going downtown to the Marriott, to the Roy's restaurant, all them restaurants downtown, all the hotels downtown, and we was meeting with the managers, the HR directors, doing our best to let them know we're working on building a relationship first, and asking these guys, letting them know, look, we got these young guys getting to be released within 3 to 6 months. We have to get these guys some jobs or else, right? So and now let me just say thank God for this. We got so many young men jobs leaving juvenile justice. But what we found out was the jobs wasn't necessarily saving their lives, right? And this is actual fact. This is actual fact. So what we found out is the jobs is not enough to save life. It helps a lot of them, but it's not enough to save life. So basically, with the job, you gotta have men like this right here on this panel, and men and women on the opposite side, the audience, to assist them through that development, right? And then a lot of them need a spiritual foundation. And I say that only because my experiences with them, right? So either they need to go to the church or even they need to go to the mosque. But they have to have some kind of spiritual foundation in their life. Most of them their parents didn't take them to church. Their parents didn't take them to the mosque for whatever reason. But that's important. So it just can't be a job. And then now you have to hold their hand. It's almost like it's almost like you got to treat them like you their father. And you got to hold their hand and you got to walk them through it for, maybe a year, maybe 2 years, maybe 3 years. But if you really want to save their life, it has to be a team of men and women supporting that individuals. And then 9 times out of 10, they won't turn back. Thank you, Adam. Any more questions?
Yeah, so we actually have about 3 more questions, but I did want to quickly share with folks on the screen the link to the survey, and I'm actually going to put it in the chat right now.
Excellent.
So for everyone who's still on this evening, I want to make sure that we get your feedback on tonight's session. So this is the actual link to the survey. And so it's also in the chat. Just click on it really quickly and type in any feedback you have so far. We have about 15 minutes left this evening, and we're going to get to all your questions. We have 3 from Chris. We have 1 from Crystal, Leslie, and 1 from Vincent. And so we're going to get to your questions this evening. So I just want to take a quick break. If everyone that's watching right now just goes to the chat, click on the link that I sent in the chat box. And when it comes up, it'll take you less than 5 minutes. You'll be able to give feedback on tonight's event, and the feedback that you give tonight will also be used in our future events. So just please fill out the survey. It's in the chat box, and I want to encourage folks to do that before we get off tonight. All right, and so next question that we have is from Crystal Darnell. How do we address and diagnose mental health challenges amongst young?
Excellent question. And we actually have a session coming up on that several. Let me ask Dr. Let me have Dr. Leaf get on this one. Can you hear me, Doc?
Yep. So I think as Andrew said, I mean, it's, we're talking about, youth of different ages and things. And one of the issues, though, is to also focus on what's happened to them, not what's wrong with them. Because a lot of times the reactions, as you heard tonight, are to their circumstances, to their lack of, the one case we know about, young people don't have their minds fully developed till age 22, 23. We also know that if they've been exposed to trauma, violence, all kinds of other things, that actually delays it. It's not that they can't regain it, but it delays it. So we have a lot of people, as people said, they're reacting to the circumstance essentially in the primal mode, in terms of, kill or be killed. And they're doing a lot of those things, and a lot of those behaviors then we sort of translate as some sort of mental health problem, when it's really their reactions to their circumstances. And if you can change their circumstances, and as many of the people said, if you get people to understand they actually have other options to do those things, then what we see, what may be seen as mental health symptoms are not the symptoms, they're symptoms of the circumstances. Now, there are also people that have mental health problems. I'm not saying nobody does, but a lot of the behaviors that we immediately attribute to something's wrong with that person is really a reaction to just their circumstances and their limited ability to be responding. They don't have the full range of things that we've talked about today. They haven't practiced them. They don't know these things. So they revert to the primary things. But as Captain said, we have a whole session on mental health coming up on mental health issues and young people and what they are and how to both diagnose, but also where are the people who could be supporting them into recovery, both the mental health things, but also, as several people said tonight, the substance abuse. A lot of people are also using substances. So I know that's not the full answer, but we do have another session where we're going to spend the whole session on it.
No, that was a great answer. You said it. You absolutely said it.
Can I add something to that, Kat?
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead, E.
Coming from a person who had the traumatic experience at the age of 17, and I was a street guy. I was in the streets since I was 12. So 5 years into the streets, I had a drug overdose. Worst thing that ever happened to me, and the best thing that ever happened to me. It scared me so bad, I never used drugs again. However, I started suffering from anxiety, panic attacks, and depression. So much so that even though I got off the drugs at least twice a week, I was being taken to the hospital because I felt like I OD'd off of it was cocaine, and I just felt like my heart was racing, that I kept reliving the moment. And I'm thinking, I gotta get to the hospital, I gotta get to the hospital. And this was happening at least twice a week. And at 17, I was wondering what in the hell is wrong with me, because when I get to the hospital and they get EKGs, they run all types of tests. They say, oh, no, he's fine. In fact, your heart is stronger than any other heart I've seen. So you're good. But I wasn't good. So it was all mental, right? And so after doing that, going to the hospital 2-3 times a week, 2-3 times a week, 2-3 times a week, for about 3-4 months straight, a doctor got tired of it and said, you got to go see a psychiatrist. And being 17-year-old dude from the streets, I'm not going to see no psychiatrist. So they tricked me into going to see a psychiatrist. I didn't know it was a psychiatrist that I was actually seeing. So as I started going there, I had went there about 3 times, and the third time I was there, this psychiatrist had got a phone call. And I'm sitting there listening to the psychiatrist on the phone call, and, you know, I said, damn, she got just as many problems as I got. So, and I wasn't getting no relief from this thing, so I stopped going. And so I just had to deal with that. So now I'm dealing with this at the age of 17, and I'm not getting high anymore, but I'm saying, what is wrong with me? And I'm looking at all my peers, and I'm saying, it's not, this is not happening to them. And we all came up together. We all ran in the same circle. We all done some of the same thing. Why has this only happened to me? And, you know, I had to start, you know, learning different techniques, but I didn't get over this until one time I was in the prison yard and I had a panic attack, and it was tough. And one of my friends recognized, because you're always trying to hide it. And he grabbed me to the side and he said, come on, walk with me. And he walked with me, he hugged me, we walked the yard, and it just looked like, you know, just 2 guys walking the yard. But he told me, he said, you having a panic attack, huh? I said, no. He said, yeah, you having a panic attack. He said, I have them all the time. And I looked, you know, this guy, I mean, this guy was ripped up. This guy was in great shape. I said, how the hell you having pain? And he's like, hey, man, this is normal. And then me and him begin to talk about it, and he'll bring it up in front of other people. And I was a little uncomfortable at first. And then other people start chiming in. Yeah, man, I experienced that. Some people, I'm still dealing with that. And now here we are, people who has been charged with murder, serving life bits, charged with robbery, serving life bits, all these hardcore criminals, and we talked about, we all suffering from the same thing: panic attacks, anxiety, depression, mental health, man, mental health. And once we begin to talk about it, now I can talk about it. Now I feel freely. Now I'm comfortable about talking to, because these my peers, these my friends. And now I'm not this odd guy. This thing ain't strange to me no more. And it was then that I began to start coping, and we start sharing, what do you do? And so I'm starting hearing them, what they do. And I've shared a little bit with them what I do. And it was then that I actually got a hold of this thing. And this was actually like 20-something years later. I'm in my late 30s, but it was my peers opening up that helped me more than any psychiatrist ever did. That might be different for any other people, but I'm saying that we have to start talking about this thing, man. We have to start talking about it.
Man, thank you, E. That's that I'm looking forward to that that session too. Thank you, E. That was beautiful, E. Thank you for that. Yes, sir. Go ahead, my main man, Adam. Next question.
Yes, sir. So we have another question, and I just want to be mindful of time. We have about 5 minutes left, so I think we can get these other 2 questions in, and then we can close out this evening. Leslie
sir.
Howard has a question. How can we break the cycle of poverty in Baltimore?
Man, that's a cycle of poverty. Raekwon, go ahead. You had your hand up. Go ahead, Raekwon.
Yes, sir. It's it's definitely an answer to breaking the cycle of poverty. Now, what is poverty? Poverty is, the root word of poverty is poor, and the opposite of poor is wealth. It's not riches. It's not riches in a way of tangible money, green currency, right? So I had to say that because a lot of times we think it starts with just money and jobs, but it really starts with knowledge, right? Because knowledge is light, and that's information. And once you start to feed that information, it's a currency. So when we talking about wealth and gaining wealth, a person has to, in our situation being in Baltimore, have to have a place or environment where they can learn life skills, right? And learn life skills at a rate where as though it's cool to do. Most people that's in poverty-stricken areas, like we spoke of, go to extremes, and that's either talents, drug dealing, or murdering. And when you want to get to the root of it, it starts with true knowledge and making it fun, making it cool. We offer a lot of these people in the streets jobs, and the thing is, they'll keep a job for a week, but everybody around them selling dope, or everybody around them, they getting a whole bunch of money, and they look cooler, right? And they buying the better clothes, and they driving the better cars, and the language they using is per se better because it's getting them where they're at. So you need to see, and you need to be involved in, far as, and what I mean by the ones who need it is the people and just the city need to engage more in positive group talks. Like, this shouldn't be a webinar only. This should be a TV show, right? We should have things that speaks to all these topics and making it everyday thing. What you see, what you eat, what you think about, and what you talk about. It should be on a bigger scale than just having a talk once a week or once a month. You know, it should be a thing where there's an everyday thing in our community, and if anybody want out, they can go and get the proper resources.
That's excellent. Go right ahead, Antonio. Thank you. Thank you, Raekwon.
This real quick, I'm gonna be real brief. My mother or my father, they never showed me how to open up a bank account. They never told me nothing about business. We never sat at the dinner table and talked about business. I never knew nothing about credit, knew nothing about finance. And that's the situation and the condition that these youth are in. They're completely oblivious to all of these particular fields, entrepreneurship, how to start an LLC. They're completely oblivious, right? So I believe somebody mentioned about the housing situation. It have to be paid training. It have to be paid training, right? The pay is to attract, to keep and train, right? But then once they learn it, because if they get the training by the right people, it's going to be embedded into them. So it had to be paid training. And I know this for a fact because for working with these youth underneath Brother Captain Andrew, We Are Us movement, Dr. Bundley, is the same exact thing. We got the youth, we don't have the resources. And we scrambling, pulling from here, pulling from there. It has to be a paid training to help with stopping poverty.
Hey, thank you. Yes, sir. Excellent. Good job from you, Raekwon, on that question. Last question, Adam.
Yep. The last question is from Vincent. Similar to the example with the boarded up houses, how can we help more families with kids who are trying to get out of their blighted blocks?
Okay, so I want to get Brandon, and I think Doc, everybody else answered the question. Brandon, go ahead, Brandon.
Yes, sir. I think it first has to go to the parents, because when we're talking about poverty means the lack of. So if the parent, as the mother, is the first teacher of the child, right? And if the mother, and we know that 85% of single households are headed by Black women, right? So if the mother don't know, it's almost impossible for the child to know. So the way that we change the condition, it says that you cannot change the condition of a people until they first change themselves. So if we could begin giving the head of the house the information that can begin getting them to think different, then that information can get passed down to the child or the children, because like I say, if the teacher don't know, how can the student know?
Facts. And education is so key, and it's not always money, as one of y'all mentioned. You know, the children, the youth just need to be educated. I think Doc said it about they want to be entrepreneurs. They hungry. If you teach them the way, they're gonna go the right way. And our role is to be aggressive in teaching and training the youth. Very aggressive. Go ahead, Doc.
No, you said it, man. You just listen to everybody that just said it, man. You gotta ride. You always use the term, you gotta ride them out. Everybody gotta have somebody, you gotta just stay with them. Greg said earlier, he said, I was once who I was, but I was going negative. Now I'm doing positive, and I want to be able to take those individuals who how to do horrible things, Greg. You taught them. You had the wherewithal to make them follow you. You rode them to whatever it is you were trying to take. Now you're doing it in reverse. So all of us, but if you don't have, listen, let me just tell you, again, and just remember this, whoever's in leadership position, observe who they have relationships with. If you don't have no relationships with people, you can't help them do nothing. Show me somebody that helps somebody that don't have a relationship with them. Even if the relationship is created in 2 minutes. That means I'm talking 2 minutes. Like we have the youth of Squeegee, we have the credible mentors, we have our fishermen, and they are special guys. Let me tell you why I know they're special guys. Because they take guys that they don't know, or they get to know in a very short period of time, say, look, soldier, whatever they say, and say, look, man, I can get you straight, get in this van, go with me, I'll give you this. When you, by the time you get, like Antonio said, I'm gonna give you $25. I want to help you get your certificate. Said, man, you ain't gonna do that. Yeah, I'm gonna get you in cash. And they get in the van. But who does that? People don't go and get with people they don't have some sense of trust with. But you can build a relationship based on who you are in a certain period of time. But everybody can't do that. So in order for you to lead people out, you gotta have relationship. I'm proud to say, Adam, I met Adam when he was in 9th grade. I met them when they were young. And you have to build relationship. Things I said to them, I said it every day. I said it every day. And love was a part of that whole piece. That's that whole thing that we did before I left Walbrook, that whole love thing, man. You gotta love your young people. They gotta know that you love them unconditionally. Love was not, for me, it wasn't always kind. I put them out, sent them across East Baltimore, and tell them, you get yourself together. I already re-enrolled. I suspended a lot of children. They said, I want to come back. Show me you did. Show me. Show me. Spend a year over there, and I'm gonna let you. I'm gonna bring you back. Me and Roger Shaw used to swap youngsters from one bottle. So that's it. It's about that love, and it's about that relationship. You can lead people from any place if you have the right relationship. They'll follow.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Doc. Thank everybody. This has been awesome. I want to give a shout out to the president, Adam, Miss Alicia. I seen her putting words of encouragement in the chat. Just want to thank her if she's still on, and she has something to say. That'd be great to hear from her as well. Thank everybody for being patient with us. Thank the panelists as well.
Yes, sir. So
go ahead, Adam.
Go ahead.
No, you go.
Yeah, we have I want to let everybody know at 10 a.m. on Friday, we have a TA session where we're going to have a conversation about what just took place. And it's more of us listening to you all. And then we can ask questions and answer questions together. So we're looking forward to that. That'll be 10 a.m. this Friday. And it's on, I believe if you don't have the link, it's on our page, BaltimoreBrothers.com, as well as Baltimore City Youth Fund as well. So thank you once again. And then we'll put it in the chat too. Go ahead, Adam.
Yes, sir. I appreciate that, Cap. So yes, again, thank you very much for everyone being here this evening. Before you log off, I just want to encourage you to please fill out the survey. That the survey link is on the screen right here. It's in the chat as well. Take about 5 minutes to fill it out. Again, our point in doing these sessions is not just to talk at you and to do what folks kind of traditionally expect. It's to spur you into action. And so all of these brilliant brothers who I've seen over the course of several years doing work in Baltimore, you know, I just want to say I deeply appreciate your contributions to tonight's discussion. Very powerful information being shared. And I hope that people on this call that in addition to filling out the survey, that you come to the small group session that is going to be on Friday at 10 a.m. So you can go to bcyfund.org/events and register for the session. Again, it'll be more conversational, more intimate. Tonight was more of a panel discussion, but that session is really more focused on getting support and resources to people in community who are doing things to this topic, or do things on this topic as it pertains to gang activity amongst young people. So if you are a person who is interested in that, if you're a person who works with young people and passionate about that, then Friday is for you. So just go to bcyfund.org/events, register, and it'll be a Zoom meeting. It won't be a webinar, so you'll be on screen. You'll be able to talk. It'll be more interactive. I really encourage people to sign up for that. And yeah, outside of that, I think we can close out, Cap. Do you have any closing words for the folks who are here this evening?
Man, I'm just honored. Thank you, everybody. It's been a pleasure. I'm looking forward to Friday. I'm looking forward to other five more sessions. So I'm just honored and thankful, man, that people would sit and listen to us, and prayerfully we're making an impact on the ones that's in need of the information, as well as adding to what they already know. Did you put the link in there? I see Lisa says she don't see the link. Okay. I mean, the survey, the survey, it's in the link, right?
Yeah, the survey should be in the chat. I just put it in there again. Yeah, I just put it in the chat.
Got it. Yes, inside there. I just seen it. Okay. No, that's it, Adam. Thank you, man. We good. So everybody can fill that survey out. We want to find out what's on your mind. What can we do better? What can we add? We're not looking for saying we did a perfect job. We understand this is going to be a team effort. It's not going to be 5, 6, 7 men. We're going to need 5, 6, 700 people to get involved to stop this violence and to really save our youth from tearing their lives apart. And then we don't want that. We can't afford that. So we got to be very aggressive in saving life. And it's going to take us coming together, partnering together in unity to fix this problem. And I believe we can do it together without question. So I'm done, Adam. Thank you. Thank you very much, brother.
All right.
But I do want to encourage the panelists. Can they fill the survey out too, Adam?
Yes, anybody can fill it out. Absolutely.
Okay, so the panel, we can fill it out as well. And I'll send it to y'all phones as well if you haven't did it online already. Thank you.
Good night.
All right. Well, good night, everyone. Thank you very much. Be safe. Have a blessed night.
Good night.